Alright, what's up guys? Back here with the next part of my collection video. We're going to be going through traditional heavy metal today. I have 3 videos set forth for this function, being the entirety of my traditional metal section. We're going to be going through A through H, and in the background we're listening to this absolute essential classic 80s record, Doomsday for the Deceiver by Flotsam and Jetsam in the background. I feel like every respectable collection of 80s metal has to have that. Speaking of, if we're going to start off with Metal Heart by Accept, I don't have some of the other classic Accept material, but this nonetheless is a pretty decent record. I mean, it's fun. I haven't quite jumped on the bandwagon with Accept like a lot of people have. I kind of view them as AC/DC mixed with Judas Priest, kind of, just a little bit more oomph to them, which kind of, I guess, is the case. Decent stuff. Not an everyday listen for me. I tend to gravitate more towards the new wave British heavy metal in the Swedish scene as opposed to this German stuff, but I do tend to like it as well. And then I have another one from them, and this is a compilation of Balls to the Wall and Restless and Wild, which I'm stupid, man. I accidentally grabbed this trying to buy a copy of Restless and Wild, but I just grabbed the wrong one for whatever reason while I was in the shop, and I wound up taking this one home, so it's virtually half and half on those 2 albums. It's just a comp of those 2 of the best of, which is kind of stupid. Why would you even print this? But whatever, I'm not going to throw it away. It'll function for now. I'll eventually get those 2 albums in their entirety one of these years. We'll see. Not exactly on the top of my priority list. Next, self-titled Angel Witch. Everybody knows this record. Songs like Angel Witch, Confused, Sweet Danger, Angel of Death, these are just like heavy metal songs everybody's familiar with. Everybody knows this cover. There's really nothing I could say. This is a newer Angel Witch album called As Above So Below. I believe this is from 2012. It's fine. You could kind of tell they're losing their edge a little bit, which kind of makes sense considering they're, probably in their 50s at this point. I would presume they'd be about right as far as age estimation goes for the guys in the band. So I kind of get it, but I'll have to revisit it one time, one of these days. I just don't find a lot of time to revisit things that I'm not particularly impressed with. But I will eventually. Next, Dark Horizons by Asgard. I believe this is a Swedish heavy metal band. They're from the 80s, and I believe this album came out in the 80s. I want to say it's from 89-ish. On the back here, there's 2 tracks from a demo in 88, a couple other demos and other things like that, promotional stuff. This is pretty decent stuff. I mean, it's Viking, Norse themed traditional metal, and it's done very much so in the Swedish traditional metal style. If that's the kind of thing that you dig on, like heavy load and this and that, I think you dig on it. Next is Attic with the album Sanctimonious. This band is virtually just King Diamond and Merciful Fate worship. Concept, horror, they even dress like it, all that kind of stuff. I don't remember exactly where they're from, but Attic is Attic, Next, I absolutely adore this album. This is A Time of Changes by Blitzkrieg. I adore this record. I seriously love this album. It's so catchy. It's so re-listenable. It's so fun. It's so energetic. It is very, very 80s, and that's something I find so replayable in it. Songs like Blitzkrieg are, I heard for the first time from Metallica, as I'm sure a lot of people that weren't there for this era did. Those Garage Inc. albums, I think, were pretty important for some of these bands. I feel like their career was made substantially more lucrative by Metallica covering their songs on that. So if you haven't listened to this and you've only heard the Metallica version of Blitzkrieg, you should absolutely change that, because this is a must-own new wave of British heavy metal album. Next, a band from Austria called Burning Visions, and this is their album Fear of Reality. This is a weird one, man. I don't exactly know how I feel quite about this yet. It kind of teeters between traditional and speed metal, probably a little bit more leaning on the traditional metal side, maybe a little kind of in line with Mandator, but a little less heavy. They also have this weird filter that they use to have like the robot vocals. I don't exactly know what it is that they do to make that sound, but I honestly don't really like that. So I'm not gung-ho about that approach, but I like the album cover a lot. I think it's cool. I always love the mix of the green and the orange like that. It's very Halloweenish, which is, you know, this, that, or the other. Just kind of campy and fun. As far as I'm concerned, that's good stuff. Check this out if that sounds interesting to you. Something kind of a little more out there in the speed traditional metal realm from '88, I believe. Next, this is a really cool record. This is Bad Widow by Cosum, Cacumen. Kosumen, I don't know how to pronounce this. This is basically the Scorpions, but a little bit heavier. It's German heavy metal. It reeks of AOR and the likes. It is sleazy. It's kind of very, very denim jacket and a Trans Am, which is kind of awesome a lot of the time for me, but sometimes I'm not particularly in the mood for it. But when I am, that's the stuff, man. I mean, that's a hilarious photo. Next, all right, gotta own some from this band. I need more, but this is all I have for now. This is Frost and Fire by Cirith Ungol, or Cirith Ungol, or whatever it is. I don't exactly know how to pronounce it. I know they pronounce it differently than Tolkien did. But this is a great record. This one's a little bit less heavy. This is more of an earlier age. Kind of rides a little bit more on the hard rock line of things as opposed to just the straight up epic metal masterwork that they would come to bring in albums like this one, which is One Foot in Hell. Everybody knows this record. Wild album cover with this friggin' grasshopper goblin man on the throne there. Just a super wild album. The vocals are crazy, as everybody knows about this band. And then I am missing quite a bit, but then I have Paradise Lost here. I'm assuming that this one's a bootleg. They all might be. I don't remember where I got them exactly, but I'm very happy to have them regardless, because they sound good, they look good if they are boots. But yeah, dude, this one's a little bit heavier. This might be musically my favorite of the Cirith Ungol albums. I don't know. That's a hard proclamation, because honestly I haven't been listening to this kind of stuff very much lately. But Cirith Ungol. Next, an album called Convent Guild with Guns for Hire. This is a random 2014 Shadow Kingdom new wave of traditional heavy metal band. I don't remember a ton about them. I really don't. I remember ordering it, and I remember not much about it. So I can't say too much about it, but usually Shadow Kingdom doesn't put out garbage, so I'd imagine it's at least decent. If you want something random to look up Convent Guild. Or Guilt. Good golly. Convent Guilt. Next, I have a couple from Cauldron, which is Chained to the Night by them. The first song I ever heard from them was off of this album, the song Chained Up in Chains. I kind of remember hearing this for the first time on maybe like Comcast On Demand, which is hilarious to say that this where I heard of Cauldron for the first time. They had a music video on there, or maybe it was on YouTube, but I definitely heard it decently early on and just didn't pay much mind, and then later on wound up revisiting it. It's really good. New wave of traditional heavy metal from Canada. This album is Tomorrow's Lost. I don't know a ton about this one, to be completely frank with you. It's mostly that first one that I'll listen to, and this one's just kind of around in case I really get in a hankering for it. They're very angel witchy, so if you like that kind of thing, check out Cauldron. Next, another new wave of British heavy metal band, The Unexpected Guest by Demon. This band is very hard rock leaning in the new wave of British heavy metal style. Very capable. As far as songwriting goes, interesting, but not overly heavy all the time. They are nonetheless a very fun band to listen to. Really campy, really dorky horror movie, B-80s horror movie kind of stuff. Next, one of the greatest bands in metal history, which is Diamond Head. This is Borrowed Time. I don't own Lightning to the Nation, sadly, because all I can ever find is a 2020 re-recording, which who could possibly want that? But nonetheless, top shelf record. Seriously, the song In the Heat of the Night is on here. The song Borrowed Time, Lightning to the Nations is on here. Am I Evil is like the song everybody knows Diamond Head for because of Metallica again. Also, amazing album cover. I would love a t-shirt with that on that. I'll track one of those down eventually. And this right here is like the first Diamond Head I ever picked up. This is just like a comp called Behold the Beginning, with this picture of it's a church of some sorts. I don't know if it's a cathedral or what, but this is just kind of like a comp of the early years, the first couple of records from them, and it's got all the stuff that you would love to hear. Am I Evil? It's Electric. The Prince, Sucking My Love. Streets of Gold, Play It Loud, Shoot Out the Lights, Sweet and Innocent, Waiting Too Long, Helpless. Just, it's classic track after classic track. It's literally a best ofs in every conceivable way. Diamond Head. Next, a little bit of a random thing that I bought one day just out of curiosity, but this is Accident of Birth by Bruce Dickinson. I wanted to like the solo Bruce Dickinson stuff, but honestly, not too good. It's kind of very, very, very 90s, and that is not the way to my heart. This dude's dressed like friggin' the Johnny Depp version of Willy Wonka, for whatever reason, without the top hat. But yeah, dude, not it. This ain't it. Sorry. If you guys like that, please let me know what you like about it in the comments, because I want to listen to it with a good mind. Next, Handful from Dio. Holy Diver. Everybody owns this record. Everybody knows this record. There is not a word to be said that is particularly necessary for me to exclaim. Next, The Last in Line. Almost equally as iconic, but songs like We Rock on here and Evil Eyes, which is cool. Egypt is a great song on here. Just a all around solid heavy metal record. Next, Dream Evil. I think one of the most iconic covers in the Dio catalog. Dio always knows what's up when it comes to front covers. It's something that he's always got. This is a little more creepy sounding, I think, a very, very 80s. I kind of compare this to like the early Ozzy albums as far as tonality goes, if that makes any sense to you guys. But it's nonetheless, it's a good record all around. Next, a great album cover, Lock Up the Wolves. I haven't spent a lot of time from here out, basically, with the Dio records. These are newer albums, 1990. It's good, but I haven't spent enough time with it to really give you a very good explanation. Same thing with this one, Sacred Heart. This is another one people seem to really, really like. Another one I need to listen to more of. I don't know. But man, dude, I really love these album covers. Dio's covers are amazing. Next, Strange Highways. I have a lot of Dio albums for how little I actually listen to Ronnie James Dio. That's kind of tragic for me to admit, but I'm not gonna lie to you guys about it. This is it's something I honestly don't remember if I've ever actually played. Same with this one. This is Masters of the Moon. Great cover, again. Super dorky, super nerdy. This is from 2004, so this is closer to the end of his life. I don't exactly remember what year Dio died, but I think it was around then. I might be way off on there. Who knows? I'll put it on the player eventually. Next is like a high-ticket item that I have that isn't all that great, but I scored it at Goodwill. This is Gates of Eternity by Dionis. This is a progressive heavy metal band. And this CD is like $100 CD on Discogs, and I don't even remember how much I really liked it. At the time, wasn't too impressed, but my taste has obviously evolved quite a bit because it followed my channel over the years. You guys can probably tell that I don't just talk about black metal constantly like I used to. I actually tend to lean more in this direction these days. Anyway, but it's kind of a progressive deal. Haven't listened to it in forever. I will put it on the player again sometime. I feel like you're going to hear me say that a lot lately. Next, RIP to one of the members just died out of this one. This is Eternal Champion with the album The Armor of Ire. Everybody knows this, I think, at this point. It is just the epitome of epic heavy metal these days. Some of the greatest stuff to come out of the modern age as far as heavy metal goes. 2016... super dorky, tabletop RPG, basically metal. That's virtually what I'd consider it. If you're into the Visigoths and stuff like that, you probably like this already, but if you're not, you like Manila Road, this, that, and the other, listen to that. Next, a couple really good records from a band from Canada called Gatekeeper, not Gate Creeper, Gatekeeper, East of the Sun, top shelf album. Really cool traditional metal, more on the Sabotage side. You could definitely argue with me first wave power metal for this thing, but I kind of keep it more in that. Speaking of, there is a cover of Hall of the Mountain King by Sabotage on here, and they also do Death Rider by Omen. So if that that is virtually the influence of which this band contains. But yeah, man, it's a really, really good record. And then I have an EP of theirs, which also has a great cover. This is called Gray Maiden. Kronos is here to talk about records too. I haven't listened to this since I got it in. I've only listened to it 1 or 2 times, and you know, things kind of get shelved if they don't knock my socks off right away. But there's some sick mushrooms on there. I'd like to know what those are. Maybe give them a little spore print. Next, we got some Girlschool. Take a Bite. I actually like Girlschool quite a bit. He's being a little invasive. Yeah. Take a Bite by Girlschool. If you don't know this band, they're very, very Motorhead-ish. Very, like, Joan Jett and Motorhead mixed together. I guess that correlation comes from the fact that the vocalist is a female and all of the members are female. But it's a good record, man. It's good, old school heavy metal, a little bit more on the Motorhead side of things, a little more speedy, a little more tankish, things like that. If you guys haven't listened to Girlschool, you're missing out, really. It's great, great stuff. Next, 3 albums from a classic band called Grim Reaper. This is the Grim Reaper Chronicles, so it's See You in Hell, Fear No Evil, and Rock You to Hell. So, their first 2 records are top shelf, and the third one's fine. I also liked it a decent amount, but it just didn't quite hit me in the way that you would hope it would. But I guess once you have 2, like, insane classic albums, specifically the debut, paired up with it, it's hard to really, you know, to impress in such a manner, you know? You don't, like, I don't know, it's hard for a burger, though a burger is good, to compare to a T-bone or something like that, you know? Great stuff. Nonetheless, next, Heavy Load with Death or Glory. I adore this band. I love this album. This is so good. Swedish heavy metal at its absolute finest. Kronos agrees, as you can see by his excitable rubs. Very, very good traditional heavy metal with a top shelf album cover. Gotta get a t-shirt of that one. Sweden just has a way of doing things, man. And this is the last one. It's also Heavy Load. This is Stronger Than Evil. I probably think that this is the best one. I got into this band, I don't even remember. Probably pretty early on. This is one of the early ones that got me into the traditional metal side of things, and it is just all around a rock solid heavy metal album from Sweden. So we're gonna call it at that. Fauna's up on the tower taking a nap in the sun, but Kronos is here to bid y'all farewell. I'll see you guys in the next one. Keep it greasy.